Good morning, everyone. We are starting now. What was done in the previous class? Till where we had completed this while loop, right? This while loop was done, I guess. Okay, so I need to start this class with break, continue, and pass statement. Okay. Okay, for that I'll have to write few examples. Let's see. If I write this code for I in range 10, print I, so what it will do? It will start printing from 0 till 9 because it does not take the last value. Okay, 10 it will print. If I give the value 10 here in the range function, it will be print up to 10 minus 1, that is 9 only. Okay, so 0 1 2 3 up to 9. Okay, now what I want to do. Okay, sorry, just a second. Okay, now is it visible? Okay. Okay, so I have written this code for I in range 10, print I. Okay, so this is very easy. It will start printing from 0 1 2 up to 9 because range function, whatever we give, the whatever argument we give, it prints up to that argument minus 1. So 10 minus 1 is 9, so it will print from 0 1 2 3 up to 9. Now what I want to do, okay, I want to, let's say, use the break keyword. So what I will write, if I equals if I equals 5, then break. What it will do, let's run this and see what will happen. It will, now it is printing up to 0 1 2 3 up to 4 only. Okay, why is this happening? Because initially the loop is started as it is. It first, range tens function just first of all generated numbers from 0 1 2 up to 9, and each number in each iteration of the for loop, each number was taken. First of all 0 was taken, then it checked, it came inside this for loop and checked this if condition. If I is equals to 5, so initially I was 0, so 0 is not equals to 5, so this if condition is not satisfied. Okay, so it will not go inside this if condition, it will directly come here to this line and print 0. Then the next number was 1, so 1 is again not equals to 5, so it will not go again inside go this if, and it will directly print 1. So it will do that up till, it will do that till 4. Okay, after that when I is equals to 5, now when it will check this if condition, if I equals 5, this condition is now satisfied. Since this condition is satisfied, what it will do, it will go inside this if condition and execute this line. So this line is telling it to break what, break the loop. Okay, so it will break the loop after this, and after, since the loop is break, it will come out of the loop. So let's say, here, after coming out of the loop, I'm printing, let's say, 10. Okay, now if I run this, now it is giving me 0 1 2 3 4 up to 10, because when I was 5, it broke out of the for loop and came directly to here, print 10. Okay, so this is was this is what break keyword does. It just breaks out of the for loop, depending upon some condition. Okay, when that condition is satisfied, that loop will break. Okay, okay, so this is what break does. Whenever the condition for the break is satisfied, it will just break out of the for loop. Okay, you can use the same break keyword with while loop also. Similar thing will be done. We'll initiate a while loop. do some execute some statements inside that and put a break keyword in between with some if condition. Whenever that if condition is satisfied, that break keyword will get executed and it will break out of the for loop. Okay, and the next keyword is continue. Okay, so let's see what continue does. I'm writing the same code. Now I'm just replacing this break keyword with continue keyword. Okay, now this break keyword is replaced with continue keyword. So what it will do, again the range 10 function will generate the same set of numbers from 0, 1, 2 up to 9, and each iteration of the for loop, each number one by one will get stored in this I. Okay, so initially I was 0. So if the I is equals to 5, so since this condition is not satisfied because I is equals to 0, 0 is not equals to 5, this condition is not satisfied. So this loop will so inside this it will directly come here print I. So I is 0, so 0 will get printed. So let's see if I run this. First of all, 0 is getting printed. Okay, in the next iteration where I is equals to 1, again this if condition is not satisfied, so it will print I. So I is 1 is printed. Again I is equals to 2, so again this if condition is not satisfied, so it will directly print 2. Then I is equals to 3, I is equals to 4 will get printed similarly. After that, when I is equals to 5, what will happen? It will check this if condition. Now this if condition is satisfied. Now this if condition is satisfied, it will go inside this if condition and execute this line. This line is saying it to continue. Continue what? What? Continue the next loop. Okay, leave the rest of the statements inside this for loop and continue to the next loop. So after when I is equals to 5, it is telling it to continue. So because it is telling it to continue, this line will not get executed. Now the execution will continue from the next iteration. In the next iteration I was 6, so again this if condition is not satisfied, so it will directly print I, that is print 6. So this is why 5 did not get print and directly 6 was printed. Again 7, 8, 9 was printed because this condition is not satisfied. And after printing 9, it will come out of the for loop and directly print the number 10. Okay. Okay. I hope it is clear. Okay. If if you have any doubt, you may ask. Okay. So this was continue keyword. We can now let's see another keyword. We'll replace this continue. Let's see. Yeah, the another keyword is pass. Okay, pass will do us. Okay, actually, pass is used generally inside a not a loop but a function. Let's say I defined a function f. It is taking two parameters a and b, and it is giving me c is equals to a plus b and return c. Okay, now I've created this function f with two arguments a and b, and c will be equals to a plus b, and it will return c. When I call this function f with parameters 2 and 3, it will give me 2 plus 3, that is 5. Okay, so this is a simple easy function. Now what I want to do, let's say I want to create when I wanted to create that function which will give me the sum of two numbers, I wrote this. Okay, I wrote this code. Now now sometimes what happens, we want to create a function, but we do not know how to create that function or what exactly we want to write inside the function for that function to work properly. So what happens is, so let's say I want to again create a function only which gave me the sum of two numbers a and b. But now let's say I do not know how to create that function. Okay, I somehow forgot, or somehow I never knew how to create that function. But I know, let's give this function's name. sum, SUMM, sum, and this sum function is taking two arguments and giving me the sum of two numbers. Okay, this function's name was sum because it was performing the sum of two numbers a and b. Okay, this was my task of this sum function. Let's say I forgot somehow, or I never knew how to create a sum function that which gives the sum of two numbers. Okay, I know that the function's name is sum because it is giving me the sum of two numbers, but I do not know, let's say, how to create this sum function. Okay, in that case, what I will do, I will write the function, and inside the function, what I will do, let's say I wrote this function and I move to the next line. Let's say I wrote this function and I moved to the next line, and now I want to, I created this function sum, but I did not, I never knew how to write uh, this function which will give me the sum of two numbers, that I did not know. Okay, so in that case I will leave this function as it is. I will think that okay, I will come to this function later when I will know how to write this function. After this function I want to write the rest of the code. So what will happen, let's say after this I want to, let's say, write create variables p is equals to 1, q is equals to 2. Okay, now after this, after creating this sum function without writing the rest of the statement, I am coming to the rest of the codes. Why I am leaving this function? Because right now I don't know how to create this sum function. Okay, in that case, if I try to execute my code even after leaving the sum function as it is, what will happen? It will give me error, unexpected EOF while parsing, because this error is coming because we have to write at least something inside this sum function. Because if we create the name of the function and we do not write anything inside the function, Python is supposed to give an error, and it is actually giving an error. So, but I do not know what to write inside the sum function. So what I will do in this case, I will write the pass keyword, and when I run this function, the code will not get terminated. Okay, it will execute smoothly, and we can execute the rest of the code because of this pass keyword. What pass keyword did, it we created the function, and what pass keyword did, it just passed out of the function and started executing the rest of the code. So this is the use of the pass keyword. We wrote a function, but we did not know how to create, how what to write inside the function to let the function execute properly. That is why we gave this pass keyword inside this sum function. So that is the use of the pass keyword. So use of pass keyword is clear to everyone, or should I explain again? I hope it is clear. Akash,
You just explain one more.
Ria, is it clear to you?
No, sir. Can you
Okay.
please explain it again?
Yeah, I'm explaining. Okay. So let's explain. I'll explain from the beginning. Okay. So I was given a task to create a sum function which took two numbers a and b and gave me the sum of two numbers. Okay, that was my task. Okay, now I defined the sum function, but what my problem was, I did not know how to write the sum of two numbers. That is what I did not know. Okay, so I do not know, that means that I do not know how to write my function. How I have created the function name, but I do not know how to write what to write inside this function, so that this function will execute properly and give me the sum of two numbers. I'm just taking an example. Okay, I actually know how to write the sum of two numbers, how to actually know how to write the function that gives me the sum of two numbers. But I'm just taking an example that let's say want to create a function that will give me the sum of two numbers, but I somehow do not know how to give that function. So I'll write this function. Okay, I'll create this function's name, but right now I do not know how to, what to write inside this function. Okay, so because right now I do not know, I will come to this. I thought that I will come to this function later. Let me just write my rest of my code, and I will come to this function later to write to complete this function. Okay, I thought that. So in this case, what I did, I wrote my rest of the code. Let's say I want to write p is equals to 1, q is equals to 2, print p and q. Okay, let's say I want to write this. Now when I will try to run this function, when I will try to run this code, actually this code will first of all try to run this function, but because nothing was written inside this function, it will give an error and the rest of the code will not get executed. This is what will happen. It will give an error because this sum function, because there was nothing written inside this sum function, an error was given. So what Python is telling me, that you have to write, if you are creating a function, you have to write something inside this function. Okay, so now we are forced to write inside this forced to write something inside this function, but we do not know what exactly do we need to write inside this function. Okay, so in that case I will write the pass keyword, so that my code will run properly, and I do not get any error, but I do not have to write anything inside this sum function. So that is why we use the pass keyword, so that my function will not give any error. The function will run smoothly without doing anything. It will simply pass out of the function. Okay, because of this pass keyword, when we run this, it will just simply pass out of the function and execute the rest of the code. And if we did not use the if we did not use the if we would not if we do not use the pass keyword, it will give an error. That is why we are using the pass keyword, so that it does not gives any error. Okay, abhi clear hai? Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so this was so rest of the chapter was explained in the previous class. Only break, continue and pass keywords or pass statements were left. So I've explained this break, continue and pass. I hope it is clear to everyone now. This is what break did. Break just simply, when the if condition was satisfied, it will just break out of the loop. Continue, what it does, when the condition is satisfied, it will start continuing from the next iteration. It will not execute that particular iteration. It will continue from the next iteration. And this pass keyword was used when we do not know what to write inside a function. Okay. Okay, now let's come. So this chapter 3, what was its name? Control structure. Chapter 3 is over now. Okay, now we will come to the next chapter. The next chapter is scope. Okay, the next chapter is scope. Okay, in this chapter, what we need to do, we need to use some, we need to use a website called Python Tutor. Python Tutor. For this chapter 5, we will need to go to this Python Tutor website. We'll simply write Python tutor in on your Chrome. So and open the first link. Open the first link. It will come like this. So it is also kind of a compiler only. But what using Python tutor, what we can do, we can visualize our code. That is what is happening inside our code. So let's say I simply write a code. Let's say a is equals to 2, b is equals to 3, print, and b is equals to 3, c is equals to a plus b, and print c. Okay, so I've written this code inside this Python tutor compiler. On this Python tutor website, this is the compiler. On this I have written this few lines of code. Now what I need to do, I need to in on the bottom you will see three boxes. In the first box you will choose this option, show all frames, and inside the second box you will choose this option, render all objects on the heap, and on third box you will choose this option, draw pointers as arrows. Okay, and after this I've written this code. Now what I want to do, I want to visualize my code. that is what is exactly happen when we run this code. So for that, I will click on this visualize button. Here you can see, it must be visible to everyone, right? This visualize execution button. Okay, I hope it is. So I'll click on this visualize execution button, and my code will now start to get executed. So now the code is beginning to execute now. Here this arrow is pointing because we are at the first line of the code. Whenever we write some code, it will start executing from the very first line. That is why this green arrow is pointing to this line, the first line. Now to execute this first line, we will click on this. Here you can see on the bottom there are few buttons: first, previous, next, and last. Okay, I will click on this next button so that this first line gets executed. So when I click on this next button, this first line got executed and the red arrow moved to this line. Okay, and after clicking on this next button, what happened? A variable in the global frame, a variable was created a with value 2. Okay, in the global, so this is the frame, this is the global frame. So in the global frame, this value a was created, variable a was created with value 2. That is why this variable a is pointing towards this value 2. Okay, now let's say I want to execute the next line, that is b is equals to 3. So again I will click on the next button. So on clicking the next button, again in the global frame, another variable b was created with value 3. That is why this variable b is pointing towards this value 3. Okay, now after this line got executed, we came to the third line. The third line is saying c is equals to a plus b. So on clicking next, what will happen? Again variable in the global frame, the variable c is created with value 5. Why? Because a plus b is equals to 2 plus 3, which is equals to 5. So on executing the third line, this variable c was created with value 5. Okay, now the red arrow is now at the fourth line, print c. So on clicking next, it is printing c. So here you can see that c got printed. Okay, so Python tutor is a website on which you can write your code and see how it is getting executed line by line. Okay, every time I'll click on next, it will start executing from, from the very first line, and every time I click on next, one by one every line will get executed. Okay, okay, so this Python tutor is clear. Nothing much is there. It is simply just like this Jupyter notebook, just like this Jupyter notebook where we executed the code. It is similar to this only. It is just that one extra thing is here is that we can visualize what is happening one by one. We can visualize our execution of the code. Okay, okay, okay. So now let's say I was at this line. I had executed the whole thing. Now let's say I want to see the execution again one by one. So what I will do, I will click on this first button. I'll click on this first button. So everything here is will be removed, and your code will come at the very beginning. So now the red arrow is again pointing on the first line. So to execute this, I'll click on next. So variable a is created with value 2. Now the red arrow is pointing to the second line. Again on clicking next, variable b is created with value 3. Now the arrow is pointing towards the third line. I'll click on next again, and variable c is created with value 5. Now the arrow is pointing on the fourth line, last line. So I'll click on next, and this it will simply print the value c, that is 5. Okay, so this is how you can visualize your code on Python tutor. Okay, so let's see. Okay, copy this or not? I cannot copy this. So let's write this: a is equals to 5. So in Python, whenever a variable is created, whenever any something, so in Python, whenever a variable is created, let's say is equals to 2 whenever a variable is created, some id is attached with that variable, okay, which we can access using the id. Print a, printing a. After that we are printing the id of a, okay. So whenever you create a variable in Python, some that variable gets a unique id, okay. Every time you create a variable in Python, that variable gets a unique id, okay. So id is unique because every variable must have a unique id so that we can access it through that id, okay. So I have created this variable a is equals to 2. After that I have printed a. After that I want to access the id of a. What is the id of a? I want to access that. So I'm using this id function. I'll write this id function inside. I'll write this the variable that for which I want to get that I want to get the id for, okay. So I'll write this variable. I want to get the id of variable a, so I'll write this a inside this id function. After that I'm printing this id function. Now when I run this, I'm first of all it is printing a, so a was 2. After that it is printing the id of a, so id of a is this 14075 and so and so, okay. So this id function is used to get the id of a variable, okay. Now let's see what we have. We'll write this code now is equals to 5 a id of a, okay. Okay, so let's now write this code on Python tutor. Right, when I clicked on visualize execution, I the screen became like this. Now let's say I want to edit this code. I will click on this edit this code and write my code here. So now here a is equals to 5, a is equals to 5, print a, and then print id of a. Now b is equals to 2 plus 3, and after this I will print the b and id of b. After that, what is there? A is equals to 7. Okay. Okay. So I've written this code. A is equals to 5. Print A. So it will print after this. This string will get printed, and after that A will get printed. Then this string IDA will get printed, and ID of A will get printed. Okay. Let's execute this code. So I'll to execute this code, I will click on visualize execution, and again the red arrow will point here. And when I click on next, this first line will get executed. On execution of first line, we can see that in the global frame, this variable a is created with value, and value 5 is associated with this variable. Now this next line is will get executed. Now the red arrow is pointing to this line, so this line will get executed now. So it will print first of all a, this string a and the value of a, then it will print the this string id a, and it now after that it will print the id of a. So I'll when I click on this, it will get printed. The value of a is 5 and the id of a is this, okay. After this I came to the third line, b is equals to 2 plus 3. So 2 plus 3 is 5 only. So when I click on next, we can see that this variable b is created and it is pointing to the same object 5, because 2 plus 3 is 5. So it is the same object. So that is why b is pointing towards 5 only. So when I click on next, it will print b and id of b. Okay. So when I click on next, here you can see that it is giving b is equals to 5 and id of b is this. So you can see that here, you can see here that id of both a and b are same, 13963050934480. So id of a is this and id of b is same. So the id of both these variables are same. Why? The IDs of both these variables are same because both these variables are referring to the same object. Because the variables are a and b are referring to the same object 5, that is why their IDs are same. Okay. After that, what I am doing, after this I'm changing the value of a from 5 to 7. So in this line, the red arrow is pointing to this, a is equals to 7. So on execution of this line, this variable 7, so this variable a is now getting attached with 7 now. Okay. So after execution of this fifth line, the variable a changed from the value of variable a changed from 5 to 7. Okay. After this, again I'm printing the a and id of a. Okay. I'll click on next again. Now the value of a is 7 and you can see that the id of a is changed now. Okay. Here it is in the last three words, last three numbers were 800, and here the last three numbers are 8, 6 and 4. Okay. So you can, it is very much clear that whenever we change the value of variable, the id of that variable also changes. So initially when a was 5, its id was this, and after the value of a changed, when the value changed, the id of a also changed. But when I after this we came to this seventh line, the arrow is pointing here now, and when I execute this line, it will again print b and the id of b. Now here you can see that id of b is same. Here it is same as it is here. Okay, it is 13963050934480. So this and this are same because uh, because the value of b is still the same only. The value of b earlier was 5, so that is why id was this. Again here also, when we printed this, the value of b was again 5 only, so the id was same only. Okay. So the id of a variable depends upon the value of that variable. Whenever we change the value of a variable, the id also changes, and if we do not change the value of a variable, the id doesn't changes. Okay. Okay, I hope it is clear. Is it clear, Akash? Ria?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Very less students are in today's class. They must be thinking they will see it from the YouTube. When I upload this on YouTube, they must be thinking that they will learn it from that video. Okay. Okay, so this, I hope this is clear now. A and id of a. So the same thing is here. Okay, now this executes some another code. Delete operator. Now in the Python tutor, we will execute some other code. Okay, a is equals to 5, print a id of a, print a, delete, print b, delete b. Okay. Here this delete operator. So let's,
Sir,
yeah,
what does ID represents?
id represents the unique identity of a variable. So let's say if you are in a school or college, you have a unique id, right? Unique id card. In that id card, there is a unique registration number. Okay. That registration number is associated with you only. No one else can have the exact same registration number as you. Other people can have same name as you. Other people can have a same name, Riya Kumari, in your school, college, or in your class. Okay. But nobody else is going to have the exact same registration number as you. Okay. So similarly in Python, with every object has a unique id. To identify that object, will have to access that id. Okay, so that id will be associated with that unique object only. No other object will have the exact same id. So this is what the purpose of id is. The same purpose that you have in your id card, the registration number. Your registration number has same purpose. That is the purpose of this id of the variables. Okay, no difference. I hope it is
Okay, sir.
clear. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Okay, so let's move further. B is equals to 5. I will give this code. So we'll write this code. Print id of a, id of b, print a is equals to 5. B is equals to 5. Print id of a and id of b. After this, print a, delete a, print a, print a, delete a, and b, b, print. Okay, now I have written this code. A is equals to 5, b is equals to 5, print id of a, id of b. After that, print a, then delete a, then print b, then delete b, then print b. Now we will visualize this, the execution of this code. Okay, I click on visualize execution, and we came here on the very first line of the code. Okay, to execute this first line, I'll click on next. And the global frame, after the execution of the first line, the variable a got created with value 5. Okay, and now we are at the second line. I'll click on next. The second line will get executed, and the variable b will created with the same object with the same value 5. Okay, both the variables are referring to the same object 5. After this, I'm printing the id of a and id of b. So when I click on next, the id of a and b will both get printed, and you can see that both the id of a and b are same. Why the id of both the variables a and b are same? Because both the variables are referring to the same object. Okay, okay. So you can think of it like this. So let's say you are in a college again, and you have a registration number, and you are taking multiple subjects. So multiple subjects you can consider as multiple variables, and both the variables, so the multiple subjects will be associated with you only, because you are studying that those subject, English, Hindi, maths. Let's say you are studying. So all these three variables are pointing towards you only. Okay, so all these variables are pointing to a unique object, that is you. Okay, so in this case also, in this code, both the variables a and b are pointing towards the same object 5. That is why their ids are same. Okay, after that, on the execution of fourth line a will get printed. So next, a will get printed, the value of a is 5, so here 5 is getting printed. In the fifth line, I'm using the delete operator. What delete operator does, it deletes that variable. It deletes that variable. So I'm deleting a. So how a will get deleted? On clicking next. When I click next, you can see that from the global frame, a got removed. How a got removed? By removing the association of the variable a with this object 5. We removed that association using this delete operator. That is why the variable a got removed from the global frame. After that, I'm printing b. So b will get printed. So the b is still associated with that unique object 5. That is why b is getting printed. Okay, then after that, I will delete b. So when I delete b, what will happen? The association of b with this object 5 will get removed, and b will get deleted. This is how the delete operator works. It removes the association of that variable with that object. So when this delete b was executed, the b association of b with y5 was removed. That is how b got deleted. After that, since b got deleted, when I try to print b, it will give me error, name b is not defined. Okay, after deleting b, there was no b in the global frame. That is why it was not able to print b. To print b, we have to access b. So we cannot access b because there is no b, because we have deleted b on the 7th line. Okay. Okay, is it clear or should I explain again? Sidra?
Yes, sir, clear.
Okay. Okay, so this is very easy. Yeah.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, Sidra.
So can't we run these codes in the Jupyter notebook?
Yeah, we can run all these codes in the Jupyter notebook, but here I'm running this code on Python tutor to show you how these codes are getting executed. See, every time I execute every line of the code, we can see what is happening inside. Okay, what is happening exactly. So when I executed the first line, a is equals to 5, in the global frame, the value a was associated with 5. So this chapter is all about understanding the execution of the code only using this Python tutor. From the next chapter, again we will execute the code in the Jupyter notebook only. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So you can see that in the chapter also, in the PPT also, this Python tutor is shown. Okay. That is why we need to use Python tutor to check the executions. Okay. So this code was clear. So this one is the last code. Let's see the execution of this code. Define percent marks, maximum marks. Okay, edit this code. Define percent marks. Defining the function percent marks, maximum marks. Then after this percentage. Okay, it is calculating the percentage is equals to marks by maximum marks by maximum marks into 100. After that, it is returning the percentage. So the first function. Now here, maximum marks is equals to float input, enter total marks. Maximum marks is equals to float input marks, enter total marks. Okay. Marks is equals to this. Marks is equals to float input, enter marks obtained. Okay. After that, what do we have? We'll call the percentage function and print the percentage. Percent is equals to, okay, percentage is equals to percent. We will call this function with the values marks and maximum marks. Okay. And after that, in the last line, print percentages. Print percentage is percentage. Okay, so I've written this code. Let's now visualize the code one by one by clicking on this visualize execution button. I am here. This red arrow is pointing towards this line, this definition of the percent function. So in this, so I'm clicking on next. In the global frame, you can see that this percent function is created, and this percent function is taking two arguments, marks and maximum marks. Okay, after this line got executed, this function is now created. So this red arrow will directly point to this line, maximum marks. Okay. Okay, wait. Okay, so on execution of this line, I came at this line, maximum marks is equals to float input enter total marks. So it is asking me to enter the total marks. Okay, so here you can see that it is asking me to enter the total marks. So here I will enter my total marks. So those total marks, let's say, is 100. So I'll submit those total marks. On submitting those total marks, this total marks value 100 got stored in this variable maximum marks. So in the global frame, the maximum marks variable is associated with this value 100. After that, here you can see that enter total marks is 100. After that, in this line, it is asking me to enter the marks of 10. So here you can see that it is asking me to enter the marks of 10. So let's say that marks of 10 over 80. So I'll enter that and click on submit. So you can see that after that, the obtained marks was stored in this variable marks with value 80. So it is associated with that, and here you can see that the obtained marks was 80. Okay, then it is in this line, this percentage variable is created, which is stores the value of this percent function. So here with the function's name was percent, so here I'm calling that function percent with values marks and maximum marks. So marks is 80 and maximum marks is 100. So on clicking on this line, it is it is now coming to the percent function to execute that percent function. So here you can see that inside the percent function, the arguments are marks and maximum marks. The marks is 80 and the maximum marks is 100. Okay, on clicking next, it will come inside this function at the very first line, and this variable is percentage whose value is marks by maximum marks is 100. So 80 by 100 into 100. So on clicking next, the value of percentage is 80 now. So 80%. Why 80%? Because 80 by 100 into 800. So that is by 80%. So the percentage is 80%. After that, it is returning the percentage. So the this value 80% is stored in this variable percentage. Okay. After that, we are returning this percentage. So on clicking next, you can see that the function percent, the function's name was percent, and its return value is 80. Okay, 80%. Okay. Okay, so this function percent has returned this value 80. That value 80 will get stored in this variable percentage. So on clicking next, we came at this line. We can see that this variable percentage was created with value 80%. Okay. Now after this, and then we came to the last line, print percentage is percentage. So this percentage will get printed. On clicking next, we can see that percentage is 80%. Okay. So again, uh, again we saw the execution of the whole code. So whenever you write a code, or some code is given to you and you do not understand how that code is getting executed, you can directly come to Python tutor, copy paste your code there, and click on visualize execution button, and one by one, line by line, you can visualize your code by executing it line by line, and you will easily understand what is happening inside that code. Okay. Okay, I hope it is clear now. Okay, Akash, is it clear? Ria?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so this is the use of Python tutor. You can execute your code line by line and see what is happening in your code. Okay, so in the PPT only also it is executing, it is showing the execution of the code line by line. Okay. After that, the next topic of this chapter is namespaces. Okay. So we will continue the rest of this chapter in the next class. Okay. It's been 1 hour, and I will the class I will terminate this class now, and we will continue in the next class from this topic, namespace of chapter 5. And if anyone has any doubt from this chapter or previous chapter, you may ask right now, or we can leave. Okay, anybody has any doubt? Akash, Riya, Sidra? Only three of you are there. I believe the rest must be thinking to watch the class from the YouTube uploaded video. Can I upload this on YouTube? Okay, no issues. Okay, Akash, yeah, Sidra, if you do not have any doubt, you may leave this class. This class is over for now. I will upload the
Okay.
lecture
Okay,
later.
sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you, Ria. Thank you, Sidra. Okay.